Okay, we're going to go over a reading on the money plane. 5 nights a week, at least 100 million in crisp new 100 bills is flown from JFK nonstop to Moscow, where it is used to finance the Russian mob's vast growing international crime syndicate. State and federal officials believe it is part of a multi-billion dollar money laundering operation. The Republic National Bank and the United States Federal Reserve prefer not to think so. And this was written by Robert I. Friedman. I'm going to put up the link. That money is used to support organized crime. It's used. Okay, a few minutes later, another armored truck rolls up and unloads another series of even larger bags. In total, this flight will carry about 2,300 pounds of $100 bills, or 100 million. The plane departs JFK at 5:45 p.m. Throughout the flight, the unarmed courier for the Republic National Bank of New York unwinds in the passenger cabin while the money sits all by its lonesome in the cargo hold, according to one law enforcement source. Upon arrival at Sheremetyevo Airport at 10:55 a.m. Moscow time, the money is transported to more armored trucks to Russian banks, which have purchased the $100 bills on behalf of the clients who typically pay for the cash with wire transfers from London bank accounts. Rather remarkably, no one has ever tried to hijack Delta Flight 30, even though it has left JFK at the same time 5 days a week, rarely carrying less than 100 million and sometimes more than 1 billion for more than 2 years. Since January 1994, federal authorities estimate more than 400 billion, all in uncirculated $100 bills, hundreds of tons of cash, was shipped to Russia. That far exceeds the total value of the Russian rubles in circulation. All that money has remained it safe only partly because of security. And other reason is that anybody who might be inclined to pull off such a heist is also well aware of who is buying all those $100 bills. If you rip off Russian banks, you rip off the Russian mafia, says one mafia source here in the United States. I want to pause for a minute and explain. Now, many years ago, I was in Germany and I had met some Russian people. And Russian people are a lot different than what I had expected them to be. They are very personable and kind, and it didn't seem from the point of view of people in the United States of America, they try to always depict Russian people as being crude and dangerous and arrogant and ignorant, and it's quite the opposite way. Americans seem to stand out that way. Russian people are very polite from my experience. But anyhow, one's got big enough balls or a small enough brain to do that. The Russian mob, according to numerous well-placed law enforcement sources interviewed by New York, has been using an unimpeded supply of freshly minted Federal Reserve notes to finance a vast and growing international crime syndicate. American C notes are the unofficial currency of Russia, of course, and can get things done here that the rubles cannot. But the hundreds are also being used to fuel the Russian mob's flourishing dollar-based global drug trade, as well as to buy requisite villas in Monaco and Cannes. I can't pronounce that. But anyhow, the funds to set up. I haven't been reading in a long time, and so my reading is poor. I haven't been. Usually, I was a practice reader every day, reading a few chapters, and I haven't been reading for quite some time. The Russian mafia has also used laundered funds to set up operation abroad, including its American offshoot in Brooklyn's Brighton Beach. The organization, New York, November 7, 1984, and has begun investing in legitimate businesses across Europe and the United States. The Russian mob's monstrous growth has been aided considerably by its ability to quickly and easy launder its dirty criminal proceeds into clean and now supposedly counterfeit-proof U.S. hundreds. Russian banks have been eager to assist, which is not terribly surprising given that a good number of are owned outright by Russian mobsters. Almost all Russian banks are corrupt. Major General Alex Gromov of the Russian tax police told a September 1994 international conference on Russian organized crime, sponsored by Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, which tracks money laundering for the U.S. Treasury. Finance Director Stanley Morris is a more blunt today. Russia's banking system is a cesspool. In fact, Russian banking system, little over 6 years old, has already become one of the world's leading money laundering centers, replacing Panama as the favorite dirty currency exchange of the Colombian cartel and the Italian mafia. A 1994 CIA report identified 10 of the largest Russian banks as mobbed up fronts, and in his speech to the United Nations last October, President Clinton declared money laundering a threat to national security. Criminal enterprises are moving vast sums of ill-gotten gains through the international financial system with absolute impunity, he said, signing a presidential directive ordering Attorney General and the Treasury to identify individuals and organizations involved in global financial crime and seize their assessments here abroad. Okay, so then why are Republic National Bank and U.S. Federal Reserve continuing to supply millions of crisp, clean $100 bills to banks that so many money laundering experts agree Republic's guilty of willful blindness, though not in technical violation of any existing law? Says a former New York State Banking Department official that money is used to support organized crime, is used to support black market operations, agrees to an unofficial at the federal control. I'm looking for a part in this story where the federal investigators are discouraged and they're saying that they can't stop this, that the FBI and the federal government cannot stop the United States government from sending the Russian mafia hundreds of millions and billions of dollars, because this money is being used for child pornography. This money is being used for slave trafficking, drugs, assassinations, anything you can think of that's illegal that the Russian mafia is involved in, the United States is financing it. So you look at stories that are going on, like, for instance, Pedro Espinosa is on death row for killing a man, but the United States government is sending billions of dollars to the Russian mafia to kidnap and rape children and film it and sell drugs. It doesn't make any sense. I'm going to put this article up. I don't have time to read the whole article, but I'm going to put the article up. I think it's so funny that the government finances all this crime and then puts petty drug dealers and gang members away.